Moving right along on the show, it is time to talk some basketball and a lot of other things, maybe with Lawrence Sports, as we'll bring in Mac Moore. He is with Lawrence Sports. You can check out the website, lawrencesports.com. We had you on back in the fall, Mac. Appreciate you coming back on. Like, again, the explanation of like your site, lawrencesports.com, pretty self-explanatory, but tell us what you've been up to and what you guys provide.
Oh, yeah. Just, as I talked about back in the fall, building this site that has print, it has photos, it has video covering, we started with Lawrence High and Free State High School. And then as we got into the winter months, we expanded out a little bit and have now started covering, all the sports at Baldwin High School, Eudora High School, and Perry Lecompton High School. So, plan was always to kind of expand out across all of Douglas County. And then I forgot also Bishop Seabury in the mix there with the Lawrence ones as well. Just everything that we've, been able to do so far is, it's supposed to be comprehensive. So we weren't sure, if we wanted to move past the first couple high schools at the beginning. But once we got into the winter months, a few less sports, but still very busy, and we wanted to give it a try. And it's been so fun so far to go out and cover all this and get that mix in. And you see the connections with a lot of these kids that know each other, play on AAU teams together and different stuff, club teams. And it's been really cool to kind of see that response from the parents, from the schools. And then it's great whenever the players and seeing those interactions from all these kids celebrating the accomplishments of the other kids, down the road, has been really cool to see over the last couple months.
Yeah, really good content. LawrenceSports.com. All right, so you mentioned Eudora right there near Lawrence. So you've been able to cover those basketball teams and their sporting athletics. So like for the Eudora girls, I mean, you talk about a team that's has been impressive. Like, talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, Eudora girls. It's a team that has looked really good. And I think a lot of things that ends up happening when you're trying to talk about these teams, you end up looking at the losses, and it's tough because you want to talk about the wins, but honestly, like that's how you end up kind of figuring it out because you're going to lose a couple games. Like there's not going to be too many undefeated squads, particularly in the 6A, 5A, 4A, and so then it ends up coming down to kind of the losses. And Eudora, really good schedule, a lot of really good teams that they've gone up against, and the losses. It was a really tough one in late December. They looked so good to start the year, and then they go into the break with this 72-44 loss to Silver Lake out at the tournament in Rock Creek. And, so that one's a tough one. But then they bounce back, and they just do work on their Frontier League schedule, and they just reeling off all these wins. They end up the only other loss they've had this year, last week going into the Tonganoxie tournament, they knew it was going to be tough. Semifinal, you're on a collision course with St. James Academy, and that one ended up being a tough one. Ends up being a 56-47 loss, and then with the weather, they move up the final games, and so when they go into their third place matchup, they have to face Olathe East later that day, and end up getting a 69-48 win, and they just look good, and from there, they pick up a win against Lewisburg, and then they go into what was going to be the marquee matchup, another ranked team in Ottawa. And, that one was such a great game to watch. And you could just kind of see the difference in the way the teams are built. If you've seen Ottawa, that Leah Askins, Dieterich, she's so good. Like, she can take over a game and, just the way it works. And she's always looking to get her teammates involved, but she knows exactly when to take over. And there would just be these moments where with Eudora, it's a lot, it's a lot more about the full team and the depth with just the group that they have. You start with the top ones of Bryn Dieterding, and then Jayla Coulter and Ava Dye. And those three are so good. And they work together really well. But that's not all they have. Then they trust the rest of the players around them, whether that's Peyton Lewis as a freshman that can just knock down from long range, And then Izzy Brunkow is right there. Avery Warren. The list goes on and on of this, rotation that works so well together. They're always in the right spots. They can feel each other. I mean, certain passes where Dieterding is like gets a steal at half court, or maybe it was a rebound, and I just remember her like spinning through the air and just tossing the ball behind her back to the player going on the fast break, and just like they know what's going on. They're in tune, and that would like get them these leads. And then on the other side, Asker and Zederich would just be like, no, I'm gonna fight and keep us in. And I mean, it was a 1-point game midway through the fourth, and then that's kind of where Eudora just kind of pieced together a few scores, made their free throws, and were able to end up pulling out the victory 62-54. And a big statement win. And any other time that type of win might move you up the rankings, but the top of 4A, a lot of consistent teams, and it's nobody's had a really tough loss. Everybody's just looked really good right now, and I'm excited to see how that one plays out. And then looking on the other side of 4A boys, it's kind of the same way. A lot of the same teams too, a lot of the same schools, and Eudora not being one of the ones like the girls team where they're at the top of the rankings, but there's so many good ones, and any good team, it's like, well, we don't want to see Eudora because, man, they're feisty.
Yeah.
They'll keep it going, and I saw that with them going up against Ottawa, a team undefeated last year. This year they've had a little bit more of a tough time, but enough of the pieces are there that you can see them putting it together late and being one of those tough squads to go up against in the 4A East. But man, that game was one. It went down to the wire. Looked like Ottawa was gonna get a victory there late. Just they drew a foul to get to the line with like 2 seconds left, and it ends up being they knocked down both of them, and so you're down to very little time, and Eudora comes out and they had a play. They had a plan that kind of changed a little bit. Ryan Osborne was supposed to be the one who got the ball on the inbound and then quickly kicked it out to one of their scorers. But he remembers from a little while back that they already had a game winner buzzer beater from Cy Thomas. And he knew he threw the ball in on the inbound to Thomas, got him going, and it worked perfectly. And he was like, I know coach wants me to be the one who, but I'm taking the inbound. He quickly got it after the free throw, gives it to Thomas, who gets to half court, and he throws that thing up, nails it, and everybody lost their minds in that gym. It was, and this is, one of the rare games where they do the boys game first. So that might have had an impact on how amped up the girls game ended up being. Because that was, the opening act, and he nails it. The fans go crazy, and I think in them talking with them, like normally it's like, man, I wouldn't have expected it, and they're like, no, we knew he'd make it. He just made his last 2 3-pointers, and like we had no doubt. We give it to Cy, and he ends up knocking it down again. Just that level, and in that moment, it was so high pressure down the stretch, and obviously Ottawa had that 2-point lead, so they were doing what they needed to do to win the game. But Cy just wouldn't let it go. He wouldn't stop until his team walked away with the victory. So that was a Friday night. Was just a great night to be out at Eudora and to be watching some basketball. And it's kind of the tale of two different teams that can be contenders in the postseason. For the Eudora boys, it doesn't matter what their record are. There are going to be some teams that might be on paper more talented, but they don't quit, and they're going to make it difficult for whoever they go up against in the postseason. And then on the girls' side, it's just a really talented squad. They're loaded. They're as good as I can imagine. I keep forgetting things. For the girls' game, Brandon Parker, the coach, got his 100th win when they got that victory. So it was a big night for them. And they were celebrating that 2002 run to state runner-up, and that being this like great year. And it's like, if you're looking at the roster and how good it is, like, this kind of looks like that year. It kind of looks
Okay.
like that's how much talent they have. I mean, might not quite be there, and they're young also. So, next year, who knows what this team will end up doing as they keep building. But I think they're already one that is like, keep an eye on. It's a so tough. There's so many good teams in 4A, and then you add in, it's like, who knows who has to go up against a Bishop Miege, where the record is going to bring them down the ranking a little bit, and it's like, that's not a team I want to face early on. So
Right.
those types of situations happen, but this is a team that's built, depending on how the brackets end up looking. They could end up picking up some wins and making a deep run this year with just this group. That, as I said, they're in tune, and it's that many good players. If one of them's having an off night, the next one will step up. So and that's exactly what you need to make a deep postseason run, is knowing we're not just relying on one person. We got a whole group, and we trust all of them. So this Eudora team, very fun to watch. I'm excited to see what they can do, down the stretch here.
Some heavy hitters there on 4A East, both for the girls and boys. Hey, Mac, appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
That is Mac Moore, LawrenceSports.com. You can check out all the Douglas County coverage by going to the website.